Hey folks, I want to talk a little bit about canning. I've been cleaning out and reorganizing my canned goods. And so I'm just kind of getting a little bit prepared for if stuff goes bad. I've been running low on some stuff. I've been I've had some old stuff in here that I'm never going to eat, and I had some jams and some jellies and stuff like that. I had the sweet and sour chicken stuff that I made, which was actually pretty good, but it is so high in sugar, I just never ate it. And so I've just been going out and emptying all those jars of food, getting them out of here. I'm finding that when I first got my pressure canner, man, I was like a kid in a candy factory, man. It was my new great hobby, right? It really was. I was just trying everything. I would see it on the YouTube, and I would be like, yep, I'll try can that. Yep, I'll try that. I was doing stuff that was probably not safe, not good. Luckily, I managed not to kill myself, but I've gotten to where I now pretty much follow the canning guidelines. However, like the celery, right? Celery is safe to can. It used to be in the Ball Blue Book until sometime in the early 1980s. It just disappeared. Now, it didn't disappear because it became unsafe. It disappeared because they have to go and test these recipes and do scientific research and make sure the bacterial load's right and all that kind of stuff. And they just didn't see it as something that people canned a lot, so they just decided not to put it back in there. And so they decided not to go through the testing again for it. And so celery is an approved ingredient in many recipes. Canning it by itself, not so much. But you know, this holds together. It's getting good heat penetration, and I just go by the 1980s processing time in my old Ball Blue Book, and I've never had a problem with it. Hot dogs and beef broth, not an approved thing, but I really like those. They make a good quick snack. They're kind of like little mini Vienna sausages, and so you know, I just process them for the time that you process all meat for, right? And so those are half pints, but you process them at the pint time, so it would be 75 minutes, like you do with all kinds of meat. So that's what I do. I've got my broths over here. I need to get some more broths done up. I do have, like back behind me here, there's some chicken broth. You know, I have store-bought chicken broth, but canning it sure is nice. You can get a whole chicken or a whole turkey and save that carcass and boil it down and make the broth out of it, and it's nice for soups. I got carrots. These are just carrots that I bought at the store on clearance. They were really cheap, like 25 cents a pack, and I just bought them up and canned them. But I'm trying to grow some Paris-Stinking carrots this year. We're going to see if they turn out. If they do, I'll probably can a couple jars of them. And so I've just started putting back flour. And this is just vacuum sealed in these half-gallon ball jars. And I got flour, I've got cane sugar, I've got clear gel, and rye flour. And so flour can grow weevils in it, so you have to vacuum seal it or freeze it or heat it to kill the weevil eggs, or it's going to, it might not be a year, it might not be 2 years, but eventually it will get weevils in it, and it'll be nasty at that point. I mean, I guess you could still eat it, it'd be extra protein, right? But I got tomato sauces here. I can take these and turn them into pasta sauce really easily, or chili base, or ketchup. I got some stewed tomatoes. I'm not quite sure why I bought those, but I did. That's a lot of stewed tomatoes. I probably would take these out and use some of them and then reprocess them into jars. Just reprocess them with an extra spoonful of citric acid and water bath them. I'm just starting to get some of this Augustin Farm stuff. This is their peanut butter powder. That stuff's really good. We got a can upstairs that we opened. The freeze-dried whole eggs, pancake mix, which I really can't eat that, but my family really likes pancakes. And I got some of this milk, this dried up milk back here too, which I haven't. The only thing I've tried so far is the peanut butter. So, but I'm just getting these. The eggs are kind of expensive. They're like $30 a can, and for 72 servings. So that's expensive, but it'll stay. It keeps for 10 years. The peanut butter is only like $12 a can, and that's really good. So I'll probably buy another can or two of that to have on hand, because I've got plenty of flour. I got this flour. I got more bags of flour in that tote. This flour. I got all this flour. I've got yeast upstairs. I've got salt. I can always make an artisan bread, which is just put some flour, some water, some salt, some yeast, stir it up, let it sit overnight, fold it over a couple times, put it back for 2 hours, let it rise, bake it. You got bread. I mean, it's really good bread. So I can always take some beans and some beef or some ground beef and some chili base, which I don't have any of right now. I'm waiting on all my tomatoes to come in. We're completely out of pasta sauce, chili base, salsa, all that. So normally this whole section here and this whole over here would be full of chili bases and tomato stuff, and we're completely out because the tomatoes were a bust last year. So but this year it's going to be a bumper crop of tomatoes. So but normally I freeze my ripened tomatoes and I wait and process them later on in the season. So, but I can always make some chili with some tomato sauce, and I can have chili and bread with peanut butter, and I got a lot of meals, so something to think about. But when you can, you'll first get your canner and you'll be like, what can I do with this? I want to try to can all this stuff. But eventually you'll just get to where you're like, I don't want to throw all this stuff away. So you'll get to know what you use on a regular basis, because canning takes a lot of time. It's a lot of work. It takes the cost of the lids and the energy to run the canner and all that, and you just don't want to put back food and then not eat it. So I try to can things that are ingredients for other stuff. But I just thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about like canning and what it is for me. And really it's just a way to put back food. The cucumbers have been rolling in. These are all this year's pickles, all the way back. These 2 rows are last year's pickles, which we're finishing up. Those are my 2 rows of green beans from this year. So as things start rolling in, I'll have more and more jars to fill up. I'm also stocked up on ammunition reloading supplies. So, got plenty of that stuff. My reloading bench is a mess right now because I'm using it for everything except reloading. Got some extra ammunition stored down here. But then I got all my canning jars here, and there's more of them up here. So I got plenty of canning jars, and these are just my working canning jars. I have a reserve of canning jars also stored, so in case I have to crank up the canning. But that's just that's how it goes. Plenty of toilet paper and paper towels. Gotta have that. Alright, well, I'll talk to y'all later. It's time, your frugal prepper.